welcome to another Tonic Craft Kit unboxing video. Today's one is for kit number 42, which is called the Spring Wreath, and the kit has a gorgeous yellow, gold, pink kind of colour scheme to it, which is really beautiful and perfect for all of your spring time kind of projects as well. So let's get into the unboxing video. And as well as all the Nuvo goodies actually in this month's kit, you're also getting a Nuvo tool and a ring binder as well to store your kits in too. I think there was a ring binder in, I think it was maybe kit number 39, but I hadn't been sent it, so I didn't realise that you were going to get one in there. But we have got another one now too, which is brilliant. They hold you could probably squeeze 5 in, but I tend to put 4 in each of my folders. But I mean, if you miss out some of the kits that do have the binders in, you can probably squeeze 5 into a binder. So this is the craft kit binder. They're a gorgeous craft kind of little binder with the 2 rings, and they're an A5 size, so they'll fit your kit folders. And actually, I think they will fit your designer's choice and stamp club and stuff as well. I think the Tonic actual die storage folders have the same rings in them, like the same distance apart. It's just a standard sort of here in the UK. So I think they would fit in there as well. So if you don't collect all of the designer's choice, stamp club, kits and stuff, you know, you could store them all together in one of the kit binders as well. Or if you haven't got any of the kit binders, you should be able to store the kits in the actual die storage folders as well. I'm going to get them to check so that I'm not telling you porkies. Okay, so I've got my designer's choice folder here. So let's take one out of here and see if it goes in the ring binder. And yep, that goes really nicely in there. That does stick out a little bit over the top, but that's not too much of an annoyance. You might want to cut them off anyway, depending how you label them. I tend to label it down the side. So this will then fit the designer's choice and the stamp club, because they come in these same kind of pockets too. And also some of the showcases also come in the small pockets, depending like what kind of die set it is really. Sometimes they're in the big wallet, sometimes they're on the smaller wallets. And then, oh yeah, no, I'll take this back out. Then we want to see if the kit binders will actually fit inside the proper storage folders as well, just as a matter of interest. So I'll put this designer's choice back in so I don't misplace it. And then, yep, they fit in there really nicely. So you can see, actually that shows the size difference nicely. It's basically just that tab that's sticking out over the top. So you can interchangeably put your craft kits in your other die storage folders, the A5 ones, which I'll make sure are linked below. You can get this beautiful duck egg blue one, but it just goes to show that the craft kits will fit in there absolutely perfectly if you don't get a craft kit with a binder in. Maybe you've collected a few over the past but you've not had one with a binder. You can put them in the other kind of die storage binders that Tonic do as well, which is nice. So I just thought I'd show you that while I thought of it. So that is the binder that we're getting in this month. Then let's go through all the Nuvo stuff. So we've got lots of Nuvo goodies this month, and one of the most exciting bits is you're actually getting a Nuvo embellishment tool. So this is what they come like, just in like a small little cellophane bag with the barcode on the back. But they're a gorgeous little picky-uppy tool. I did a whole video on this little tool as well, and I've used it in quite a few videos since then, and it's just so useful. And this is my one I've been using, but I just can't believe how many different things it will pick up. And I don't think it's too dirty. I've been using it quite a lot. It's got a little bit of glitter stuck to it, but it does clean up really nicely just with like a baby wipe and then leave it to dry. So really, really useful tool. And I'm so glad we got one in this kit. I had just bought myself a second one in case I lost this one because they're quite small. But now I have a third one because we got one in the kit as well, which is brilliant. Because I don't think you can ever have too many of them, because you never know when you might need to pick up a small little embellishment. And if you craft at a desk and then sometimes on your lap or something, it's quite nice to have one in each of the places. So we get a Nuvo embellishment tool. Then I suppose this is kind of a Nuvo tool as well. So this is the adhesive tape runner, and it is the small one, which is the mini, and it is 5mm, and you get 6 meters on the roll as well. And this one, it's a permanent adhesive, but it's not solid, so it's good for going around circles or around a curved line, or you can also go over intricate detail. Although I do find sometimes the adhesive overlaps in the open areas, but it's kind of hit and miss for using it in that kind of way. But I can't remember, I remember filming it, but I can't remember where or what for. It might have been in a kit video actually, but because it gives you this gorgeous like diamond pattern, you can actually put your glitter onto that or your gilding flakes, and it gives like a really nice embellishment for your card as well. So don't just think of it as an adhesive for just sticking down your panels on your cards. You can actually use it in a decorative purpose as well. And if you're in the US, if you buy your kit from the US website, you might get a glitter in your kit as well, so you could actually try that out using the tape runner and putting some glitter on it as well. So we're also getting that tape runner in here, which I totally forgot we were getting. So in the videos I didn't actually use it to stick any of my cards together because I had put it to the side and totally forgot that we got it in the kit. But you can definitely just use it for sticking all of your layers together, and it just saves a lot of time. And if you find it hard to get the backing off of double-sided adhesive, it's really great because obviously you don't have the backing paper. Although if you do struggle getting the backing off of double-sided tape, try the Tonic tissue tape because it is really good. Like literally so easy to take the backing off. I've got an old roll that my mum didn't want because she couldn't get the backing off of it. Not a Tonic one, a different brand. And now using that one that's difficult to get the backing off, I so appreciate the Tonic one when I go to use it because it is so easy to take the backing off of it. So if you haven't tried their tissue tape, definitely give that a try because it is really easy to take the backing off. Then the next Nuvo product is a little mini Nuvo embellishment mousse, and this one is in the colour Peony Pink. I don't think this is a new colour, but I don't have it in a full-sized one, so I'm not 100% sure if this is an exclusive colour or if it's just one that I haven't got yet. It might be an older colour that I haven't collected yet, but a really beautiful pink colour. And I do like getting the mini pots actually because if you don't use your mousse like that regularly, it's quite nice to just have a small pot of it, and then you don't have to worry too much about it drying up. So you can actually use it within the time frame, which is nice. But if you do have trouble with them drying up, if they have like completely cracked apart and dried up, sometimes it's gone too far and it's quite difficult to reconstitute it because it gets a bit lumpy because of all like the really hard pieces that it kind of breaks into. But if it's still salvageable, just spray some distilled water into them and leave them for a couple of days and see if it's loosened up a little bit. Or you can just get into the habit of when you have a new one, before you put it away, spray a couple of sprays of distilled water in there and then do it back up again, and then the next time you want to use it, it'll be perfect. So you can always get into a habit like that if you don't want to risk them drying out as well. It'll just help them live a little bit longer, really. Then the next Nuvo thing is a Nuvo drop. And you're getting a full-sized bottle, and this one is the Carnation Pink. I can't 100% remember which colour trend this came out in, but I think it is one of the 2019 colour trends, because I was thinking this was the one that came out in the surprise party colour trend, but then I was like, no, that's called Party Pink. So I'm not 100% sure when this one came out. I can usually remember, but I'm not sure when this one came out, but it's a beautiful pink colour. I can show you on this scrap of card. It's a really gorgeous pink. It's a really like, well, it's almost a Barbie pink, but it's not in your face kind of a Barbie pink. It's like a nice sort of pink. Really lovely. So you got that full-size Nuvo drop. Then there are a couple of like random selection kind of products in this month's kit as well. So I got the Just Peachy Nuvo Aquaflow, but you're getting one random one from the Dream in Colour set of Aquaflows, and the 3 colours of those Aquaflows were these three. So you'll be getting one of these. So you might get the peachy one like I did, or you might be getting the Sweet Pea, which is a gorgeous, kind of more of a dusky pink maybe, and then the Hawaiian Orchid, which is a really purpley pink, I guess. So you're getting one of those three Aquaflows. So I got the peachy one, which I thought went really nicely actually, but having different tones of pink is also really nice to go together, because you can create some lovely inky messy backgrounds by combining the mousse with the two pinks as well, and even squishing some of the drops in there too, and it'll give some really lovely effects for your backgrounds as well. So you're getting one of the three of those Aquaflows, and then the other optional product, like you know, which kind of one you're going to get, is if you're buying it from the UK website, so tonic-studios.co.uk, you're going to get a random selection of 2 of the Golden Year sequins. So you're either going to get either of these 2 or either of these 2. I got these 2, which is the rose gold and the silver, but you might also get the diamond or the light gold as well. So you're going to get if you're ordering it from the UK website, you're going to get a random selection of 2 of these. But if you're ordering it from the USA website, so .com, I think they have more of the Golden Year collection in stock. So you'll be getting a random selection out of the entire Golden Years collection. So you might be getting sequins, you might be getting confettis, or you might be getting glitters as well. I haven't got my small pot of that one, but I think it's the diamond glitter. So if you're in the US, you'll be getting a random selection of 2 out of all of those different ones. So in that selection you have the diamond, the silver, the rose gold and the light gold sequins. Or you could be getting the light gold hexagons, the ice white circles, which is my absolute favourite confetti. And I'm so low on this one. Like, I've got maybe less than a quarter left in there. Then there's also mirrorball stars, rose gold squares, or you could be getting some glitters, which I'm pretty sure it was mirrorball, rose gold, light gold or diamond glitter. So if you're in the UK and you're ordering from the .co.uk site, you will be getting a random selection of 2 of the sequins, but if you're in the US and ordering from the .com site, you'll be getting a random selection of any of the 12 that were in the Golden Years collection, which was the first ever collection of Nuvo Pure Sheen confetti, sequins and glitters, which came out quite a while ago now, but it doesn't seem that long ago really. But yeah, so that's the kind of selection that you might be getting. And the only reason why it is different for the US than the UK is because I think the US got it later than us. I think we'd had this collection for at least a year or 2 before the US got them, so they've just got more stock, I think, I think that's the only reason why we're only getting sequins in the UK. But, you know, any kind of embellishment is really gorgeous. And the cards I'll show you later, which will be past me because I've already filmed that part, I did a card where I actually used the silver sequins behind some of the dies, and it looks beautiful. So if you want a use for sequins, then keep watching to see my samples that I've done as well. So then we're also getting the little pad of watercolour cardstock. So it's the A2 size and it's got 15 sheets in it. If you want the size for A2, it is 4¼ inches by 5½ inches. And my favourite size of card, the panel is 4 by 5¼ so it's slightly smaller than this, so I really like this kind of a size. And if you want it in millimetres, it's 108mm by 140mm, so it is slightly shorter than an A6 card but also a teeny bit wider as well. So you could easily use this trimmed down widthways to make it a nice sort of framed topper on an A6 card, or you can just matte and layer it up and use it on a larger card, or you can just stamp and colour your pieces and cut them out and just use it as like a small little block of watercolour card, which is really nice as well. and it is 300 GSM, so it's a really nice sturdy card, but it also die cuts as well, which is great, because a lot of the thicker watercolour cards, it's quite hard to get it to die cut, but it does die cut really nicely. And you can see that kind of texture on it as well. It's kind of like a wavy texture, but it's really lovely to work with your aquaflows, or like a messy, moussey kind of background works nicely too. Or you could do aquaflows and then bring the mousse in afterwards and try and catch some of the texture as a different look as well. So you've got 15 sheets of that. And it's a nice versatile kind of watercolour card to have in your stash, and it's also nice just to keep on your desk in case you ever just need a little bit of watercolour card for something too, which is good. So you got that in the kit. Then let's look at the cardstock. That we're getting. So I have got the list of names in front of me as well. So we've got the Buttermilk Classic card, which has got that beautiful canvas weave on one side and then it is smooth on the other side. And we've got the Mustard Yellow Classic card as well, which again has got the weave on one side and then it's smooth on the other side. And then we also have, so we've got 3 of the classic cards this month, which is really nice because it means you've got like a lot of base kind of card in there. This one is the Coral Pink, which is a gorgeous, I don't know, it's coming across brighter pink on camera, but it's a gorgeous peachy kind of a pink, corally kind of colour. And again, that's smooth on the other side. Then we have got a couple of sheets of the Satin Mirror card. So this is Gold Pearl, which is a beautiful gold colour. Then we also have Pink Chiffon, which is a beautiful pink tone. That is pretty much coming across the same colour that it is. Really love this one. And then we also have the Honey Gold Roses Luxury Embossed cardstock, which is always a favourite of mine. I got quite a few packs of this. They had it reduced on the website a little while ago, and I'd used it a lot in some of the memory books I'd done for some of the Create and Craft launches. And it's a really lovely, gorgeous pattern, and it goes really nicely with browns and craft, and even red actually. I think I brought red into it as well. So really lovely one, that. Then we have also got a pearlescent cardstock, and this is the Lemon Luster, which I think came out in the Surprise Party colour trend. I think that was 2018 colour trends. Then the final one is the Specialty Handmade Cotton Paper, which is the Coral Confetti. So it's a gorgeous like stripy little heart pattern. If you got any of the packs of this specialty cotton paper that they had on the website reduced in a Wednesday deal or a weekender bundle a little while ago, they were like multi-packs of different patterns of cotton paper. I'm sure this was in one of them, maybe the heart themed one, the love themed one. I'm sure this was in there because I bought a few of them and I was splitting them up a little while ago, and I'm sure I remember seeing this pattern in there. So really gorgeous, lovely. It's nice to have such a small design in the cotton paper as well, because if you've got an intricate die cut over the top of it, you can still see the kind of little small detailed design, which is really nice. So those are the 8 papers. Sorry if that bit's a little bit choppy when I'm editing it. It's just my camera kept stopping focusing and I had to keep turning it off and on again, so hopefully that wasn't too annoying and too many cuts between me talking. But yeah, those are the cardstocks that we've got in this month's kit. And then finally we have got the stamps and dies. So as always, I've already taken mine off the 2 acetate sheets that it comes on and put it all onto one magnetic sheet, just to make it easier when I'm working with them to put them back on there. And then you've also got the stamp set in here as well. And actually I just remembered something. Oh good, I do still have a couple left here. Because I just remembered there's a stamp in here that coordinates with some of the flowers that are in this month's kit in the die set. And I'm pretty certain you're supposed to be able to stamp the centres on them, but I got carried away on one of the cards I was making and I was supposed to be doing that, but I didn't in the end. I ended up cutting them out of a load of different colours and layering them all up. So I will attempt to stamp onto them. I think this one is just for the solid flower, and then maybe this one is for this flower and this one's for this flower, but I'll give that a go in a second. So we have got, have I got a piece of card? Yes. we got the stamp set for this Spring Wreath kit, and we got lots of gorgeous spring sentiments. So we've got Spring is in the Air, we've got Spring Fever with a rainbow, we've got Live Life in Full Bloom, we've got Springtime, and if you recognise that font, there are some dies that were in the memory book range, and I think they said spring, summer, autumn, winter, and they might have had some other ones as well, and they were in that kind of a font, but they were actually dies, so you might recognise that font. And then you've also got If Friends Were Flowers, I Would Pick You, and then we've got The First Blooms of Spring Always Make My Heart Sing, and Spring Has Sprung, Here's to Lots of Sunny Days to Come. So some lovely little sentiments in there that could go on the inside of the card or on the outside of the card. They're kind of like little verses almost. And then we also have, oh, I missed that one, Hello Spring as well. Then we've also got a gorgeous little kaleidoscope of butterflies, is that what it's called when you have a group of butterflies? A little solid kind of a stamp which goes with, it doesn't coordinate with the die, but you could create a really lovely background using the stamp in the background and then putting the little die cut butterflies on top. And then we have these three ones here which are the centres of flowers, so you can actually die cut your flowers from a solid colour and then use an ink to stamp those onto them, which is really nice actually. I'll show you that now before I forget. So I think the smaller two correspond with the ones that I've got die cut out here. These were just leftovers from one of the cards that passed me, we'll show you in a minute. So let me get an ink pad and I'll zoom in so that you can see a little bit easier. So I think this little one is supposed to go on this size of flower. Obviously you probably wouldn't do it in black, but just so you can see it. And I would probably put my head over the top of this to see it a little bit better as well. But you can just add that kind of centre detail. That's not perfect, but it just adds a little bit of detail to the centre of the flower to make it look a little different. And then the same on this one as well. It doesn't have to be perfect really, it just gives that illusion that there's a centre to the flower. So you've got those little stamps to do that kind of thing with as well. I'm sure you can think up other ways of using those little flower centre stamps too. So I've shown you that, and then I've got the die set to show you as well. So let's start with this die. So this is a gorgeous, I'm zoomed in too far now, this is a gorgeous edger die. So we've had a few edges in kits in the past as well, and they've also brought out edges separately in die sets as well. There was a gorgeous feather a few years back and some lovely flower sprays going down as well. But this one, it's kind of got a little bit of foliage in there, some gorgeous flowers, a lovely like pom-pom dahlia kind of a flower, and then there's also a couple of butterflies too. So it actually cuts these butterflies into the card. You'll see this used on one of the cards that past me will show you. But basically, if you can see here, you've got these, oh yeah, you've got these notches that they've put in there actually, so that when this die is the wrong way round, you can actually line these notches up to where you want the cut lines to be, because they're actually perfectly in line with the cut line, which I think is a really nice addition, because the other edger dies that they've done in the past haven't had that, and you've had to kind of like keep flipping the die over and checking where the cut line is. So that is a really nice added extra that they've added on this die. But basically, if you see here, you've got the cut line, and then the cut line actually follows this side of the design. So when you're placing this on your project, this side will completely cut away the cardstock, and then all of this will be cut into the cardstock. So you'll have the gorgeous intricate flower, and you'll also have the butterflies that will be apertures in your cardstock, and then you'll have the little fall away butterflies to use for something else as well. So it's a really gorgeous design, and also the way it is designed as well, you know, you can have it once this way and once this way, and because it gets fatter at one end and thinner at the other, they'll kind of nestle into each other. So you could actually make quite a decorative panel that then has the cut edge on either side of it to create a larger portion for your card as well, that's different from the other dies. So you can do that kind of thing too. I did just use it on the side of my card, on a panel that I stuck on the front, but you can also do it onto, like stick it onto an acetate fronted card so that you can see through to the rest of the card, or you could use it as the like a shaped edge to the side of your card as well, and the edge is actually attached to it. Sometimes with edger dies they give you the separate edge, but I quite like that it's attached to it because it makes you use it differently, because you know it wouldn't be impossible to like back this with a solid piece so that you could paper piece it, but it kind of makes you think a little bit differently about how you might want to use it because it's already got the cutting edge on it. So I do think it's a really nice type of die, really. You could also use it as a header on a card too, so you could have it so the top would cut like this and then you'd have the detail inside as well. So I think that's a really nice versatile die. Then you have a word in here too. You've got the word spring, which I think I mentioned it when I showed you my cards. You can actually cut that into the card, and the only little piece that you might want to stick back in is the centre of the P. So you can actually get 2 sentiments from cutting one of them, basically. So you'll get the fall away piece, but also the waste piece is still legible. And then you can just pop that tiny little bit of the P back in if you want to as well. And then you also get the bubble for this one too, which is really nice, so that you can, well, what I like to do is cut this from vellum, so it kind of like mutes down the background, but you can also cut that from solid cardstock, and then you can use 3D foam pads to raise it up as well. So different ways of using that kind of a bubble die around a sentiment. Then you also get a banner die, which is really nice because it actually fits, I don't know if it fits, yeah, no, I think it would fit all of the sentiments, yeah. So, or maybe not the ones with like the extra swirly details, but all of these kind of verse sort of sentiments fit in there perfectly. Springtime goes on perfectly, spring is in the air. I think that one would fit actually, the bloom one, live life in full bloom. Might have to do it a little bit wonky, but I think it would fit. I think that one would fit as well actually, the Hello Spring, so maybe not spring feather. I think maybe the rainbow would hang over the top of that one, but pretty much all of the sentiments fit onto that banner, which is really nice. And it has like a different end to it as well, just to make it a little bit different from other banners or banner dies that you might have. It kind of gives the illusion that it's already wrapping around something because it's kind of going off at an angle like that. So yeah, a different kind of a look really for that kind of a banner. Then you've got multiple flowers, which I really like these flowers. I'm pretty sure I said it when I show you my cards in a minute. It reminds me of the flowers that were in the oval pansy floral aperture die set that came out 2 or 3 years ago now. But I really love that shape of flower, and these really remind me of that. And they kind of layer up inside each other, so you can use the outside pieces like the main kind of bubble, which is less defined, or you can use the inner pieces which are kind of more defined, which work really nicely as apertures because they've already got that like detail of it coming in between the petals. And then you've got a smaller one here, and then this one actually has 3 dies inside each other, so this smaller piece here gives you more of those like smaller inner petals of the flower as well, so that gives a really nice effect. I love this little die with the little cluster of butterflies, and as I said before, you can use it really nicely with the stamps, so you could stamp a load of these going up your card and then actually fold some of these butterflies in half and stick them just down the body, so there's like 3D butterflies floating within the stamped butterflies as well. Would look really lovely. And then the final and kind of main 2 dies from this set are these 2, which are why the kit is called the Floral Wreath, because you can use the 2 of these together to make a wreath. You could maybe use 2 or 3 of this by itself, or 2 of this one by itself to create a wreath design. I didn't actually do that on any of my cards. I used them both on the same card, but I just offset them to kind of fill it up as a pattern. I didn't actually use them as a wreath, but it gives a really nice versatility basically to the die set, having it split into 2 parts. And it also means that I guess it's not the same going all the way around, so if you're using both of them in conjunction with each other, it's different flowers and different arrangement of flowers and stuff going all the way around the wreath. So I think they would work really nicely actually with other wreaths that you've already got as well. And I'm sure there's multiple dies from previous kits and designers' choices and showcases and stuff that these would work really nicely with to add that kind of floral element to something else as well. So, but they're a really nice versatile floral design because they have the inside die cut detail which cuts really nicely into your card as well, and then you also have two bubbles, so this one will only cut into the card but the next one will then cut it out, but you also have another bubble that is slightly bigger. So if you wanted to do paper piecing, you could, if you wanted to, cut these two together and then cut another one of this and back it behind it, or if you wanted to go a step further and have a different colour showing around the edge of this, you could cut your backing piece in this one, stick the other intricate piece on top and then paper piece back in that way as well. Or you can do different options with how you might want to add an aperture on your card. So I actually used this one, so the middle kind of die, to create apertures. Then I cut those two together and then recessed that into the aperture because I'd put all of the sequins underneath like I was telling you earlier. But you could have done a larger aperture with the larger die and then stuck the detail one on top and maybe have backed this larger aperture with acetate and then put the detail one on top, then made it a shaker card, and you'd be able to see the shaker bits behind the flower detail, but also in the tiny border between these two outer dies as well. So it just gives you a little bit more versatility really for however you might want to use these kind of cards in your, or these dies in your cards. So yeah, it just gives you different options that you might want to do. So I will pass you on to past me to show you the samples that I did. To be honest, I filmed it a week ago or so and I can't actually remember what my cards look like, but I hope you like them and I will be back after I've shown you those. Okay, so I've got 6 cards to show you using craft kit number 42. So the first one, I wasn't sure whether this was really gonna look like it was my style. I suppose it's the colours. I think if I was making this kind of a card normally, I would have used some really bright coloured sequins behind it, but I really like how this one turned out. I wasn't sure I was gonna like it as I was making it, but I do really love how it turned out. And the reason why I decided to do this card, so basically I have added a ton of sequins behind these die cuts, and I also added some glitter on as well just to cover up the rest of the glue. You might not get glitter in your kit, but I'm sure you've probably got some kind of glitter in your stash that you could do this with that would coordinate with whatever colour of sequins or confetti that you get. But the reason why I did it is because you're actually getting the embellishment tool in the kit, which I already have told you, but I wanted to show how, I didn't film this, but I wanted to show or tell you how much quicker this process is when you're using this. It picks up sequins so nicely. I'll show you this now, hopefully I won't repeat myself later. But it really does pick up sequins really, really well. And you can easily, I mean I've already done a video on this, but you can easily place them exactly where you want them and flip them up the right way as well. You know, you can even pick it up on the wrong side and flip it around and get the right side really easily to make sure all of your sequins are the same way up. I did kind of give up with that part way round and some of them are up the wrong way and stuff, but once you put the die cuts over the top you can't really tell, and it just gives this really beautiful jewelled kind of look. So I really love how this one turned out in the end. I mean usually I probably would have done an inky background, then these bits would have been white, and then I'd have done some kind of bright colour that would match the inky background to go with it. But I thought I'm obviously just going to stick with the stuff from the kit, so I decided to just pick out the metallics, and I did the silver and the gold together. I mean I could have done the gold sequins underneath, but I decided I thought a silver and gold kind of card would look nice, and I did actually use some of the watercolour card as the main panel as well, just to give it a little bit of interest. And then I've just used some gold embossing powder from my stash to emboss the sentiment because I wanted it to kind of match. I thought black would be too harsh on this one because the rest of it's all really metallic. But I really like how that turned out. So basically how you do this is I use this glue. So what I did was I cut the 2 apertures out of the backgrounds. This is both of the dies from the kit, and I just nestled them into each other and cut both of the apertures. Then you get another piece of cardstock, and you can draw through your apertures to get the rough shape of where these dies are going to fit, and then you can flood the area with some tacky glue and place all the sequins on, and then place the main piece over the top. Or especially when you have this little tool to help you place all the sequins, because I usually place them all by hand, but having this little tool, you can then instead take your aperture piece, stick it to the backing piece already, and then spread your glue all over it, and then you can put all your sequins and fill the rest in with glitter to neaten up any messy glue areas. So it's a really easy process to do, and this tacky glue, I think it works brilliantly for this kind of process. Tacky glue is kind of more of a wet glue, that's why it's cheaper than the deluxe glue, I think, because it's got more water content in it, whereas this is more of a concentrated. That's why it dries quicker and, you know, grabs quickly. So your card will wrinkle a little bit, but it's a similar way of making it dry, or letting it dry, as you would with the crackle mousse. If you just elevate it on something, all of that area where the glue is wet and wrinkly underneath will dry more evenly and quicker if you kind of raise it up a little bit. Then the air can circulate underneath it and above it to get it to dry a bit quicker. But I think it gives such a beautiful result, and I really do, I've said this like 5 times now, but I really do like how that card came out. So and you could do it with any of the colours of card from the kit, and depending on what kind of sequins or confetti you got. Like, for example, if you did manage to get the clear sequins or glitter, or the confetti as well, if you're in America, you'll have an option of glitter and confetti as well as sequins. But you could do a really gorgeous bright background using the Aquaflow and the mousse from the kit, and then you could have cut these from the white or the watercolour card and then done the clear sequins behind it. As a completely different look on this card. It would really change the look of it. But I really like that design, and I think the sequins really make it extra blingy and special. So I've done that card. Then I have done a sped up video as well, which has got 3 different cards in it too. So this next one I didn't film, but I decided to use the Aquaflow across the centre here, and then I literally just used the die cut flowers and the tiny little butterflies, and I just cut them. So I took all of the flowers and the little butterfly and cut it from the 4 different colours. So I did all 3 of the textured Craft Perfects from the kit, and also the gold embossed one as well, the specialty one. So I just cut it from all of them, and then I just mixed and matched how I layered them up. So because I cut it from 4, some of them have got a double of one kind of petal, some of them have got a double of like the largest petal, and some of them have got a double of the smallest petal. So it sort of mixes it up across there. And then I've also used the Nuvo drops in the centres of the flowers and just sort of scattering up the card, as well as a splatter of the Aquaflow that I got. I got the peachy kind of colour, but if you had the pink as well, it would go really nicely too. And then I've just done a scribbly border around one of the sentiments and stuck that on as well. So any of the sentiments would work for this kind of a card, I think, especially the one about if friends were a flower, I'd pick you. I think that would go really nicely with this kind of one too. But I just wanted to show how you can use the flowers separately, and you also have, which I'm hoping future me will show you, the stamps that go in the centre of these flowers as well. So you could have done this idea just putting like a larger flower on there with the stamped centre as well, to make it a little bit more or less busy really with all of these layers on the flowers. So that would be another option to change that card. Then these are the 3 that are in my sped up video, just showing you some different kind of techniques. This one does actually sort of match this card, they're a kind of similar style. But this was showing those beautiful flowers again, and just doing the apertures with them, and then using some of the specialty papers behind. So I've used the cotton paper, the embossed gold paper, and a couple of the textured coloured cardstocks as well. And then instead of using the Spring is in the Air stamp, I've used the die cut word spring, and then just used the is in the air part of the stamp to finish the sentiment as well. And I've also splattered some mousse into the background because I was using the mousse on the other 2 cards, so I thought I might as well. And I've done the Nuvo drops in the centres of the flowers too. And I also stuck some of the papers straight to the back of the panel, and then I also raised the panel on foam and left a couple of the flowers recessed as well. Just gives a slightly different look, and you could do it with more flowers as well. I just decided to leave a couple of them, but I think that gives a really nice look. So that's another idea with the flowers. So, you know, a couple of different ways of just using those gorgeous flowers. And this flower shape actually really reminds me of a die that Tonic brought out ages ago. I think they were called Floral Apertures, and I think I'm thinking of the pansy, and I think it was oval pansy. That kind of shape of the flower really makes me think of that one. So if you ever bought that die set, I think these would go really nicely with that as well. Then the other two from the video kind of go together. They're very similar kind of looking. So this one was doing the faux embossing folder look, which I do mention a lot in videos, because it's just a nice way of using your dies to create a different kind of look, or small dies to create an overall background on a larger card. So basically I cut the word spring 7 times, I think I have. Yeah, 7 times. And then obviously because I was running through the word spring, I also cut the butterflies 7 times. So I had tons of little white butterflies. And this was a white card with die cutting white card, and then you literally just arrange them however you want to, stick them all down, and it kind of looks like an embossing folder. And then you can just add all of your mousses and stuff on top of it to, you know, literally look like you had embossed a piece of card and then use the mousse on top. And I also used the Aquaflow, so you can see where the pink mousse is because it's really shiny, and then any of the other areas I just added the Aquaflow, and I actually just like smudged it around with my finger to blend it into the mousse a little bit as well. So in some areas you've kind of got a peachy coloured mousse where the Aquaflow went over the top of the pink as well. So I think that looks really cool, and I just splattered on some mousse as well on there, and then I used the Spring Fever sentiment, and I did a strip going all the way across the card. I thought that would finish it off nicely. Because the sentiments are quite small, I thought it might look funny, just a tiny little sentiment floating in the middle of the card. So like adding that strip really kind of grounds it on both sides of the card. And then because I'd stamped it in black, I edged this in black and then took some of the extra white butterflies, coloured them black, and then stuck them on as well. So I think that one gives a really nice look. And then the other one from the sped up video was this one. So I used the watercolour card in the background. You can see that lovely texture of the watercolour card, and then I got my Easy Clean mat that came with my Tim Holtz mixed media mat, and I first of all sprayed it with water, then I put a little bit of mousse on it, mixed the mousse with the water to loosen it up, then I squeezed on some Aquaflow, and then I pressed my card into it and did like the wrinkle free technique where you squish your card into it, you dry it, you squish it in, you dry it, you squish it in, you dry it, and you get all of those cool like dotty kind of effects really, or drippy effects and stuff, so that's with the mousse and the Aquaflow. And then once I'd done that, I came back in with the Nuvo drop, and usually I do my technique where I squish 2 pieces of card together and pull them apart, but I was only making 1 card in this instance where I wanted that on the background, so I put my Nuvo drops onto this background, and then I just did that onto my Easy Clean mat and squished them all down, and then you get that lovely veining look, but you've only done it on 1 card rather than on to 2 cards. But obviously if you're doing this at home, you're not going to be making a video and, you know, need to move on to the next bit, so you could make a couple of backgrounds at the same time and squish them together so you're not wasting any of the drops. But I just love that look of the squishy effect, and you can go back in and add more, or add other drops from your stash as well. You don't have to just stick with the one from the kit, so, you know. And then because this is an A2 pad of watercolour paper, an A2 card is wider than an A6 card. I do kind of make mine a roughly A2 size, but they're a bit smaller, so I had a little bit of space left on the edge, so I used that little offcut and layered it back on top of the beautiful edger kind of die cut. I really like this one. Looking at that die, you know, like backwards just as a die on your magnetic sheet, I wasn't sure whether I was going to like how it was going to cut out, but I really do like that lovely subtle kind of design. Tonic have had a few edger dies in the past, whether they've been part of another die set or just ones released on their own, and and often they have the separate edge to them, but this one, the outer edge is actually part of it, so it makes it super duper easy to just run that one die through. And actually, because it swoops like this, I usually cut a piece of card to the exact like dimensions that I would usually make my card panel, and then cut this strip die or this edger die down one side of it. But because this swooping design, I don't know if you can visualise it, but you could actually take this and flip it around the other way, so then you'd instantly get this kind of front panel for 2 cards, just out of the amount of cards you would usually use for 1 card, if that made any sense. But yeah, it's quite a nice sort of space saver kind of die, because you could get 2 out of 1 rectangle. And then I've just added on a few of the white butterflies, some of the ones I'd cut before, but this one actually falls out of here, and that's a really nice butterfly as well. So if you just want one for your project, you can just pinch the fall away piece from this die, but you do get that other die that has all the gorgeous little butterflies in. Then the final card that I've done, I didn't actually plan this card, it was just a completely random one that I just decided to make. I had leftover dies, so I had leftover die cuts, sorry, from this card with all these flowers and stuff, and some of the butterflies and bits and pieces, and I was looking at that edger die and I was thinking, I wonder if you could make that work on a DL card, because I mean obviously a DL card is much longer than the design. That design kind of fits absolutely perfectly on a smaller A6 or A2 sized card, but I wondered if you could kind of extend the design to fit onto a DL one. And then I thought, well, you get the outside edge, but these ones are also verso dies, so I wondered if you could cut that into the card to kind of extend the design around. And then I was looking closely at the word die, and I realised that in the G this little piece doesn't fall out, so you then only have one piece to place back in if you want to use the negative of the die cut. So I thought that was a really nice way of using it and extending the design down the card. I mean, I could have used the longer die as well, but I think this one works really nicely. Or you could even have die cut this one again in the opposite direction down here, and then die cut the word spring and stuck it on top or something. But I really liked how that one turned out as well, so I wasn't expecting to like this one. It was just an experiment really, just to see if I could put these dies together in such a way that it would work really nicely on a DL card, and I think it does work really nicely. And I've just backed a few of these flowers with some of the cardstock from the kit. I've added some extra die cut flowers down here, and then scattered a load of butterflies all throughout the design. And then I wanted to back it with the gorgeous cotton handmade paper, so that you can see it through some of the open design work there and through the sentiment and everything, and it's enough contrast to, you know, clearly be able to read the sentiment with that colour behind. And then I've literally just added a few little tiny strips of cardstock because it just looked too white and empty up there, and I wanted to bring some of the colours up. And the piece of handmade paper I'd stuck this onto was longer than my card panel, and I actually quite liked the way it was poking out the top, and that this design didn't go right to the top, and you've got that sort of different kind of look. I wouldn't usually do that. I would usually make this be the top of the card. I mean, I could still do that if I decided to. I could just chop that off and that could be the top of the card, but I quite liked how that looked. So hopefully that's given you some more ideas of how you might want to use the dies from this month's craft kit. I think it's a really nice one actually. This gorgeous spring kind of feel with the flowers and everything. Okay, so I'll pass you back to future me to finish off the video for you. So I hope you enjoyed this unboxing video of Tonic Craft Kit 42, which is the Spring Wreath die set and stamp set, and the gorgeous yellowy, pinky, goldy kind of colour tones from this kit as well are absolutely perfect for all of your springtime projects, but also taking you into summer projects as well. I think this is a really gorgeous, beachy, summery kind of colour scheme too, so I'm sure you can easily adapt these kind of floral dies into more tropical flowers. I mean, I guess these aren't completely like a hibiscus shape, but you might be able to add like the little stamens coming out the middle and give them more of a hibiscus kind of feel as well. So I think you could turn this spring kit into a summer kit as well if you're wanting like the versatility of a couple of different seasons for designing your cards with. And I hope you enjoyed past me showing you the cards that I'd made. I hope it gave you a few more ideas of maybe how to use some Nuvo stuff, because I know not a lot of people, or there are a few people basically that don't like the scattering of like sequins or Nuvo drops across the card, but I kind of tried to give you another way of using the sequins, so you can just sort of flood the area with glue, fill it full of sequins, and then add your intricate detail die cut over the top, and it gives a really lovely look. You kind of think that maybe it would be lost behind an intricate die cut, but I mean you have a few larger open areas and stuff, but because the sequins are so sparkly, and especially adding the glitter with it as well if you have glitter, I think it just gives a really lovely blingy kind of a look to a card as well, and I think it really changed the look of these dies, especially from some of the other cards that I'd created as well. So I hope you enjoyed seeing those examples, and hope maybe something you saw or that I said might have sparked an idea in your mind of how you might want to use this craft kit if you get it. So, oh yeah, also, I don't always remember to say, I practically haven't said it in the last probably 20-something kit videos, but if you've not heard of the Tonic Craft Kits before, I probably should have said this at the beginning actually, but anyway, if you've not heard of the Tonic Craft Kits before, you can either buy them as one-off purchases, so if you just like this kit you can go and buy it now, and it'll be shipped to you on the 1st of April, or as close to the 1st of April as possible, depending if it's a weekday or a weekend, and then, or you can also, if you really like the look of the kits and you want something coming in monthly, you can do a monthly subscription and it will just renew every month for you. Or I think you can still get the quarterly subscription. So if you wanted to give someone a gift, you know, you could give them a 3-monthly subscription to the kit as well. So lots of different ways of buying the kit for whatever your budget is, or you know, if you want something coming in monthly to give you extra inspiration and stuff as well. And there'll be links to the craft kit below the video, and the links that I use are affiliate links, so if you do use any of my links to buy anything, I will make a small commission off the amount that you've spent, but it's at no extra cost to you, and I really do appreciate you using my links. I've said this in quite a few videos recently. I don't know if I said it in the last couple that I've filmed, but I do really appreciate you using my links. So if you have ever used them, or if you do ever use them, just know that I really do appreciate it, and I'm ever so thankful for you using them. So thank you so much. And I hope you have a lovely day as well, and thank you so much for watching the video and staying right till the end as well. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!